Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV and welcome back to part 3 of the Friday Night Social. And as usual, we always end on the golden question. And first up tonight, we're going to bring in Ryan. Ryan, what is your golden question for tonight?
Well, as I think I've mentioned on the last couple Friday Night Socials, in the Bundesliga, I'm supporting FC Köln. And as you can see over there, Tom, with his Fortuna Düsseldorf shirt on, polo, supporting Fortuna Düsseldorf. So the two teams meet this weekend in the big game. You know, no one cares about that Bayern Dortmund stuff on Tuesday. It's all about FC Köln versus Fortuna Düsseldorf this weekend. So, match predictions. FC Köln 11th in the league. Fortuna Düsseldorf 16th. So what's everyone's predictions for the big match? Me versus Tom.
Okay, well, I'll start it off with I have absolutely no interest in it whatsoever. I didn't watch any of the games last week. I didn't even watch anything. So I'll give you a prediction. A boring 0-0 behind closed doors. So that's my.
I mean, that's what they had the first weekend.
Okay,
that's what we had last weekend.
Right. Okay, I'll go to Martin first then.
I'm a bit like you. I have no interest in it. I really don't. I'm sorry.
He wants a score prediction. I don't know how, but I mean,
3-2.
Come on, go.
3-2
to who?
What were the teams again? I've no
11th place FC Köln or 16th Fortuna Düsseldorf.
Yeah, Martin, go for Uwe.
I'll go for Fortuna because it's Uwe.
Okay, there you go. 3. You've got to answer 3-2. So 3-2 for Tom. That Karl.
5-5.
Jesus. I mean, I'm hoping for that as well, to be honest.
You're optimistic in the Bundesliga, aren't you? 5-5. Right, okay. We'll bring in Alan.
Well, seeing as one of my contractors is German and he's an FC Köln fan and he's from there, I'll go with 2-0.
Oh, so we've got one.
Köln are currently winning on aggregate.
Okay.
Come on, Chris.
We'll bring in Chris. Chris, I don't know, mate. Away you go.
What was the question?
Sorry, no. FC Köln versus Fortuna Düsseldorf. What's your prediction?
My prediction for this weekend is that Jack Daniels will defeat me yet again. Now I'll go with Tom.
God.
Oh.
Gonna prove he's all wrong this weekend.
Right. Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna have to go with Tom because it's Uwe. So I'll go 1-0. 1-0. There you go. Boring, very boring. Behind closed doors, 1-0.
Oh, I have to be on next week's Friday Night Social. Rub it all in your face.
Yeah. Well, good luck watching that one. So.
Can I just remember the last time we played against you? We beat you one. Was it 2-0 or 1-0? What was that again, Ryan? What was the score?
No one really cares.
I like the way they're saying when we played against you. This is Man City Fan TV.
Aye, but he's on here in a Fortuna Düsseldorf polo. I've been on in Real Madrid tops.
I'll give you that one. Anyway, okay, so on to Tom because you've got to go in a minute. So your question for everyone, mate.
Yeah, I just saw a thing on Twitter earlier on, and I was looking. It was about Jolly and Lescott, and it got me thinking. Apart from Vincent Kompany, is Jolly and Lescott the best centre back we've had since the takeover?
Oh,
because based on facts, he was in one of when he was in the defence. We never complained about the defence, but ever since he's left, we've had struggles in the defence. So I personally. Put down our success in the defensive department down to Jolly and Lescott. So I don't know what you guys think.
Wow, who do you want to answer first?
I'll go to Chris first.
Okay, Chris.
Jolly Lescott was a fantastic player for us, I think. I saw an interview with him not so long ago where he said the question he gets asked most is that mistimed header against QPR.
Yeah.
And I think that's really unfortunate because he did us a sterling job. I think the best defender we've had other than Vinny has to be Laporte. and I would put Jolien, behind him.
Okay.
Ryan?
It's hard because when you first mentioned Lescott, I was thinking Sylvain Distin because I think Sylvain Distin was probably just a little bit better than Lescott, but then obviously he brought up post takeover, so I'm thinking I think I'd probably have him third for post takeover. So I think Laporte obviously probably top for quality, but I think just because of how long he's been at the club and how even though people say he hasn't been good, I think he's been great and a really good player for us. I'd still have Otamendi probably above him.
What?
Otamendi was hands down probably the best defender in the league 2 years ago, and people forget that.
He's had one good season in 5.
He's not had one good season in 5.
I think you're being really harsh.
Otamendi has been quality for City, and at 34 million, like people make out on Twitter especially, because I had someone mentioning this on I replied to a thing on YouTube the other day where someone had mentioned Traore to City for 130 million, and I was saying that that's not anything City would possibly do, and they brought up a bunch of 50 million pound defenders, and they put Otamendi in that. People think that we paid massive money for Otamendi. We spent 35 mil for Otamendi, something like that. And for that price, he's easily repaid us really well for that.
I agree with you. I think I agree with you, Ryan.
Overall, I'd probably have him top. Quality, I'd have Laporte top, but overall, I'd have Otamendi, then probably Laporte, and then Lescott.
What about Vinny, though?
Vinny obviously top, but obviously this is excluding Vinny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think he was that great of a defender. If I'm going to be honest, for all the hoo-ha, I've even got Kolo Toure above him.
Fuck off.
Do you know, that was
what was that?
You know,
Such a good answer. You got rid of him, right? Okay.
Right. Moving on.
Chris, you were saying.
Oh mate, he's lost his marbles, hasn't he? This guy.
finished.
I think he got told.
Thanks for the night.
He is comedy gold. He's absolutely brilliant.
For an hour and a half.
It's still going on in the corner.
You see what you've done, Tom?
Let me just bring you in. Go on. You were just saying there. Go on. Let me just bring you in case it didn't come in.
Bloody hell.
For 90 minutes and then back up in the background. Tell you what, Mr. Baker. Right, no, I'm good. No, I'm not being harsh. I've got Otamendi above him because I think Otamendi, you've got to remember, when we were signing Otamendi, there was a list of clubs after him, including United at the time.
Yeah.
You know, there was big clubs after him. But I like Lescott, don't get me wrong. Do I think he's company's above him? Yeah, I think he's a good player, Lescott. I wouldn't say he was one of the greatest centre backs we signed. Certainly.
Okay.
Alan?
Well, I think you've got to remember that Mancini was managing when he was there, and he was a lot more defensive coach than Pepe's, and he played 2 defensive midfield players in every game, i.e. Barry and De Jong. We take one off if we needed to push forward. And so I think a lot of that covered in there. But the defence was better, but that was a lot to do with the defensive midfield that we had at the time in Gareth Barry and De Jong, without any shadow of doubt, which used to sweep up anyone coming at us. And now we tend to play with only one all the time, which is either Fernandinho or the new guy now. So it's very hard to say, and as far as Otamendi, please do me a favour. No, thank you.
Otamendi gets too much disrespect.
I think you're in the minority here, Alan. I'll be honest.
At least on here, probably not overall.
Maybe not.
He dives in all the time. He spends more time on the floor diving in and it's no pace.
I'm with Alan.
Yeah.
Can't stand Otamendi.
You can. All right. Okay.
Oh, no.
We
You
got.
want to keep John Stones? Thank Christ.
Okay.
I love De Jong. On his point on De Jong, I bloody love De Jong.
No, we're not going up to De Jong.
No.
We've got
Carl, what do you
Yeah,
think?
I mean, when I think of Lescott, I don't think of him as one of the top defenders for the club. Otamendi had one good season. And Otamendi doesn't learn.
Thank you. Well said.
Otamendi refuses to learn that he can't just dive in. It's the same mistake every time. But for me, Company number one, Laporte number two.
Yeah, agreed.
Fair enough. Andy?
What was the question? We've got into Otamendi, Laporte, and Company somehow.
And Colo Torre.
Oh yeah, Colo Torre.
You nearly forgot him.
I thought he did. Yeah, I mean, I think Alan made a good point with the fact that we generally had Nigel de Jong and Gareth Barry in front of him at that time, and yes, I guess that it's interesting because when you listen to the likes of Vinny and you listen to others, and they going back to that season, 2012 season when we won the league and things, and they said he never put a foot wrong. This is coming from Vinny Company and that, saying he was he never lost a header, he never, and going back on it in hindsight, you look at it and think, actually, he didn't. He was really, he was very,
I think they said
good.
that in the documentary that they put on the YouTube channel,
Yeah.
that he lost one header all season and it led to the QPR goal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he was I think he did a very, very good job. Would have put him right up there in the top sort of 5. Maybe he squeaks into the top 5 for me. Solid, didn't do much wrong. But then, you start looking at the likes of Laporte and things like that, and you're thinking, wow, serious player.
Demichelis.
Mangala, what a player.
Don't diss.
Get away with Demichelis. Absolutely hate him.
Okay, right. That's everyone's answers. Good question on Joleon Lescott, guys. Comment below. Give us your thoughts. What do you think? Joleon Lescott, was he in the top 3? Martin thinks Colo Torre was by far a better player. And Colo Torre was actually, I thought he was decent. But, I mean,
can we not swear at me in the comments, please?
Anyway, Tom, you've got to go, mate.
Yeah.
So take care, buddy. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, everybody.
Stay
safe. Take care, guys.
We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Tom.
We'll see you next week, buddy.
Bye.
Okay. Right. So we've had Ryan. We've had Tom. I'm going to come to Karl. Karl, your golden question for tonight.
Okay, the question's pretty simple. If Man City didn't exist, which current Premier League club would you support?
Oh no!
Does it have?
No!
Does it have to be Premier League?
Okay, which current Premier League club would you support? Make it hard.
It's not hard. It's like downright slander.
Well,
No!
I have an answer.
Oh
I think.
no!
Oh well.
Again, but again, the answer is open, right? The answer is, there are 19 other clubs.
Yeah.
Or there's none.
Well, we know Martin's going to go Bournemouth just for Graham Potter.
Oh no, Chelsea.
His predictions.
Chelsea. I did have
right.
yeah.
Okay. Let's go round. We'll start with Martin first.
got to Liverpool all the way. Liverpool, the greatest team ever to be, the history of the world. They've won everything that there is.
Champion.
Most loyalists. They go to
6
Anfield
times
every single week.
Come on.
But I can't choose anyone. I can't.
Yeah, I know.
I can't do it.
I know. You're right.
It'd be like selling one of my kids. I can't do it.
Another one.
I was going to say, don't worry, I've been there.
How's my lad doing at your house, by the way, Andy?
Yeah, it's all right. I don't know. Is it, that cupboard that everyone keeps talking about under the
He's
stairs?
under the stairs.
He's been in there for the last 2 months. I haven't seen him.
I can't. Sorry, Karl. I'm gonna have to jib out of it. I can't.
He's gonna do an Andy in predictions. He's gonna sit on the fence.
As much as the rumours are, I was a Chelsea season ticket holder for 10 years. I can't do it.
What do you mean rumours?
Yeah.
All right then. All right. If it's that difficult, because it is going to be difficult for me. What about any team then, Martin? If you could support any team, because it would be hard for me if you said a Premier League team. I'd just be going. I might pick one out of the Championship that possibly might follow or something, but I couldn't pick a Premier League team right now.
Man City.
Oh, that's a cop out.
No, you can't cheat. That's cheating.
I'd probably support him. I'm going to be totally honest.
Oldham.
Or Oldham.
Okay.
Stoke City. Jeez.
No,
Stockport County.
I was going to say.
Get the wax out your ears.
Okay.
When were they in the Premier League?
Okay. No, we're just saying. I can't. Go on then, Chris. If you've got a Premier League team you could support, then go on then. What's yours?
Aston Villa.
Aston Villa.
So, in all honesty,
Leicester.
So when I was a kid, right, my dad took me to watch City, right. Then when my brother was born, right, he took us to Main Road and he took us to the Swamp, and my brother became a United fan, right. So the truth of the matter is, if City didn't exist, we would have gone there, and I would have been a United fan. Yeah. But if I could choose a club in the Premier League, that is a really hard question. Because where do you find your sort of connection to a club? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. That is a really hard question, Karl. So it's just going to sound like because I can't even think of one. I wouldn't.
Not easy, is it? Eh?
No, it's not. It really isn't, because I don't have a connection to any of the sort of teams.
All right,
you know what I mean?
Same as Martin. Then any club then. Any club.
It'd be Stockport then.
Oh, Stockport. Okay. Alan?
The only team I have a connection to apart from City is where I'm from, and I'm from Whitefield, so it'd have to be Bury. Well, obviously they've gone. So, because my granddad was a City fan, my dad was a City fan, took me to Main Road when I was a kid. I had no choice in the matter. That was it. Your team is in blue, and that's it, and you hate United. I would say it'd have to be Bury, but if I had to choose a team in the Premier League that I kind of like, or think, oh, they're all right, would probably be Newcastle.
Okay.
Glory Hunter.
Yeah. Probably because
we look back on this podcast in 2 years' time when they've won the Champions League.
Callum's just joined the 100,000 so-called Newcastle fans that are about to appear in the world.
It's never going to happen. If I'm blue, and that's the end of it.
Yeah. Go on then, Ryan. I think we know what your answer's going to be.
Do we? No. Well, no, because he said Premier League. So for Premier League, it would be West Ham.
West Ham. Okay.
West Ham. I remember.
Green Street.
One of my most vivid memories from when I was young, because I moved to this house in 2014, so I was around 13 at the time. And when I lived in my old house, my best mate supported West Ham. Still don't know why he supports West Ham, and I've always just got on with West Ham fans, and I just like the club. So for Premier League, it would be West Ham. But overall, if I just had to pick a club in England, it would probably just be Karl, really, because local team. But
it's interesting because City fans have always had an affinity with West Ham fans in particular.
Yeah.
We've always had this close sort of bond per se. Interesting question. I can't pick a Premier League team, and I've said it on the vlogs before. I spent a year following Stockport County with City. So when City were away or when there was crossovers midweek games, and I lived up that way. I went with a load of lads from the pub who were all Stockport County fans and some City fans, and we all just spent a year following County, and it was the 96, I think it was, when they got to the semi-final against Middlesbrough in the League Cup, and followed them all the way up to that leg up at Middlesbrough, and it was a brilliant journey. So for me, it would have to be Stockport County, only because I spent a year following them alongside City, and it was just a really good laugh. West Ham, maybe West Ham. I think I've always had. I don't know what it is. I think with the likes of Morley and everybody else who played for them, and others. I don't. Yeah, Bishop and Carlos Tevez, and I don't know. Maybe I've got a little bit of something for them. Maybe
I think Premier League. I think if City fans were forced to pick a Premier League team, the majority would probably pick West Ham.
Yeah,
I know
possibly.
online especially, there's a lot of City fans and West Ham fans got on really well.
Yeah, I mean, I've got loads of people that I follow, and they follow me, and we have bit of chats and things like that. And you rarely get City fans arguing with West Ham fans. They tend to have this affinity for some reason on there. I'll throw one in for Karl, and this alone to piss off the
just because it was
fans.
His birthday.
I like Goodison Park, and it's always been one of my favourite stadiums to visit.
Are we going to sing Happy Birthday for Karl?
Yeah, he's not on tonight, but it was his birthday a few days ago. So happy birthday, Karl.
Yeah, konnichiwa.
Yeah, happy birthday, buddy. Hope you had a good day.
Got now left.
Yeah. So okay, good question that. And difficult one. So we'll go to right. Who've we had? We've had Kiam, we've had Ryan. We'll go to Chris.
All right. So I'm going to go back to the first question with FFP and everything, and this is what Arsene Wenger had to say. Yeah. He said we should value quality management and encourage it, and I am in favour of opening things up to more investment, which FFP does not allow for. The clubs that dominate Europe today are those that were built and made investments during an era where FFP did not exist. FFP prevents emerging clubs who want to invest from doing so. That is not normal, right? So I want to know from you guys, will the cartel clubs allow that kind of FFP?
Oof.
No.
Right, okay, Alan, over to you first then, mate.
The answer to your question is they'll fight it like tooth and nail. I cannot see the cartel as the big clubs of United's, Liverpool's, Arsenal's, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, etc., Juventus, wanting that. They'll fight it tooth and nail. Hence why they were talking about changing the rules and basically UEFA picking who they should have in the Champions League and not down to league position. I think they will do everything they possibly can to avoid teams like City, now Newcastle, which will come into the fore the next 4 years, not without doubt, overtaking the cartel, and they don't like it, and will object to it.
Ryan?
Well, I don't know, because how much say do the clubs get in that decision? Really, I don't know how much say they'd get in that really, but I think I don't know, because a lot of people from the higher up clubs will have connections with people to do with the people making decisions with that. So I think they would obviously oppose it, but I don't know how much say they'd really be able to have in it. But obviously, as I was saying, because I think it was today that the Newcastle stuff got the go-ahead from the Premier League, or at least it was reported that they got the go-ahead on, I think, Sky it was, this morning. So I don't really know how much say they'd have in it, but I think if they can have a big enough push in it, I think they'd definitely be opposed to it.
Okay. Karl?
Yeah, I think it's inevitable. Because of the current climate we're currently facing with COVID-19 and how it's going to affect football, not just now, but also in the future. I think they recognize that, and Arsene Wenger is beginning to prize open the opportunity for this to be relaxed. I think it's deliberate, it's calculated, and they know exactly what they're doing. Nothing's by accident. He doesn't come out and make that statement unless they've agreed that this has to happen because of the current financial pressure that the clubs are under and UEFA is under as well. The only way these clubs will survive in the long term is if you have additional investment from the owners into those clubs, because the banks won't do it, government's not going to do it. Somebody has to take the investment, and it has to be the owner.
It's interesting. I think it brings it back to what we were talking about in part one for me, and it goes back to what's going to happen with the CAS appeal and Man City and what's going to happen in the future, because I think it's going to be a massive game changer unless we are real conspiracy theorists in this and go, what Wenger's, like you said, Karl, this is pre-planned, this is a prepared statement, this is an anticipation of what could be coming in the next 12 months with FFP and UEFA and the new competition and blah 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 blah. Will something like this lead us to a favourable outcome with UEFA, so that City don't take it all the way to the Court of Human Rights and make sure that this premier competition, City will be part of it, and the cartels will have nothing to say about it, because if it does continue and City take UEFA all the way, where does that leave UEFA and their sparkly new competition that they want to include all this garbage nonsense of you can finish seventh because of coefficient points, but jump ahead of somebody who genuinely was in third and blah blah, all that nonsense.
Yeah, like Leicester.
Yeah, like Leicester. Yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting question, and it's
FFP will have to change after this current situation is going on.
You would think so, and you would think, like Karl said, the way that Wenger's come out now, and Chris said about read out Wenger's comments. I mean, that is unusual from somebody like Wenger, who was very much anti-investment. And you only have to look at the way that he ran Arsenal as a football club. Let's face it, you can forget what's happened after he left. When he was there, he bought into the whole idea of Kroenke and everyone else of how it was supposed to run, and limited funding and it's all about profit, and it's all about this, and it's all about building the stadium and making it pay itself, and he was right behind all of that. But now all of a sudden that comment Chris has made seems to suggest that he's being primed for something that might occur in the future. So it's quite, I mean, I read that and I was really confused, because it just thought, that is not Wenger. Not Wenger of old, anyway. That is definitely not Wenger of old. But Martin's here, so we're going to bring Martin in. So, Martin, what are your thoughts on that question?
With what we said a few months back, a few weeks back, sorry, not months, with this, they're going to change in coefficient points to go into the Champions League and everything. I think it's all pointing a direction of a European Super League in the end. And I think that's where these elite G14, as we like to call them, I think that's where it will eventually end up going. And it will be the people they want in it, and it will be the people who don't want in it.
Well, my other question back to that, and I agree totally with you on what you said, is it wouldn't surprise me that if, I know that Bayern are heavily involved and PSG are heavily involved because of Khalifi and because of Rummenigge and everything else within UEFA, but it wouldn't surprise me if at some point the likes of City, United, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Barcelona all go, you know what, to UEFA and their nonsense and garbage. Let's set up our own. Let's get our own TV. Let's negotiate our own TV rights and set up our own Premier competition. Why do we need UEFA? Why?
I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
Well, my point. Why do we need them?
We don't.
Well, UEFA are needed by the cartel clubs for protectionism, aren't they? That's the only reason for them.
But if you had the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, Man City, Man United, Liverpool, and several others, big clubs, PSG would probably jump, and Khalifi would probably go, well, yeah, I can run it, and I could be, well, fine. All we're doing is probably creating another cartel league, etc., etc. But why do we need UEFA after everything they've done? And let's face it, for the last 20 years, they have pretty much been abhorrent in their, corruption. And, even FIFA themselves and the people involved, the amount of people that have been charged with corruption and everything. Why do we even need them, really? Why does football need them?
I think to your point, I think it's inevitable. Look at the NFL model, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what? I think 16 to 18 teams, whatever it is, and that's no relegation, no promotion.
Yeah.
They have West Coast and East Coast, right? AFC, NFC, they play all the way through, and then they play division titles, and they play the Super Bowl. And it's the biggest event that's probably watched around the world, or at least in the US, at least, right?
Yeah, in the US. I was going to say definitely not Europe.
Same thing.
Well, it's a franchise model, isn't it?
Right. They do the same thing.
It's not franchise in Europe.
They just keep running on. But in terms of the model itself, right? Teams are not relegated. Teams are not promoted. A franchise can be given out to somebody who qualifies to join, and that's it.
Do you know the big problem we have in football as a whole? It is the mindset, and I hate to come back to this, but I'm going to use the Leroy Sané as an example. Players have still got this. No, players have still got.
Bloody it's Leroy Sané.
I don't. The players have got this mindset of Real Madrid, this G14 group, as the place to be. Leroy Sané wants to go to Bayern Munich. Even young players now who are 16, 17, the dreams Real Madrid, Barcelona. When is the mindset going to change?
But actually,
it's just not.
But actually, there's been an interesting article that came out today talking about that, and it was about La Masia. And La Masia are losing, for the last 2 years, have lost all of their big stars, the 15, 16-year-olds. They've left the greatest academy in the world, and they've left to go to overseas European teams in the likes of Man City with Eric Garcia, the likes of PSG. There's 4 new big players on the market right now, all 15, 16-year-olds, and they're all about to sign for the likes of PSG and other teams. They're not staying at La Masia, and the article was all about why is La Masia suddenly just imploded? Why is everybody leaving the greatest academy ever built in football?
But at the moment, that isn't the best academy. At the moment, that isn't the best academy.
No. At the moment, hence why they're leaving over the last. You're saying over the last 2 years, but it's the
same reason why Man City sell 95% of their youngsters that they produce in the academy. They make. I think it made 150 million over the last so many years by producing youngsters they can sell, because they're going to have to be absolutely special to get in their first team. Because
this is a point I think I made last week with the I think someone had asked about the youth players you'd bring into the squad if you were to bring in 3 youth players. This was brought up last week, I think.
Yeah.
And I'd said that like the majority of the youth players just like they're not good enough to get into a team that wants to consistently compete to be the best team in the world year on year for the next 20, 30 years. Yeah. Like then they're just not good enough for that.
But that's no different to any other academy. Trust me.
Well,
that is
Atalanta in Italy.
That is across the board.
Like
in the UK, it's across the board.
You're not going to get a Man United scenario ever again in football. You just won't get it. I said it yesterday on the vlog. You will not get it. Like Jason Wilcox said, you are going to have to be special to get in this Man City team now. You're going to have to be up there.
This is what I've said with Sancho. Because I like Sancho was completely right to leave City. He would never made it at City. He would have never got into this team, especially once we signed Mahrez. He would have been 4th, 5th, 6th choice for right wing. Might have got a couple of cup games a season, maybe a game off the bench in the cup in an FA Cup game. He would have never done anything at City. and he was completely right to leave. And what did we get for him? 8 million?
Let's not talk over each other.
What did we get
otherwise
for
we
him?
can't hear.
8 million? 8 million did we get for Sancho?
I think it's 8 million with it could go
20,
on sell on to 20 to 25
yeah, 20, 25 million, 25% buy-on clause.
Yeah.
Like, we've done well for Sancho. If someone pays 100 million for Sancho, we've done really well with that deal, because he would have never made it here. So I don't see why people bring that up as because people bring that up as a bad transferring something bad to do with City in the transfer market.
Yeah.
Whereas I think that it's we did the best we could with Sancho. He would have never pushed into the team at City. We sold him on, got a decent price for a player that was completely unproven at the time. Sent him on to Dortmund, got a good price, good sell-on clause. If he now goes for 100 million, look how much money we're getting for him, just for someone that had he ever played for City at the time? I don't think he had.
No.
Well, I mean, we've done well there.
We sold Rabbi Matondo, and there's rumours that United have been scouting him and what him. If there's a sell on in the Rabbi Matondo thing, it's like a player who was never gonna. He's gone to Germany, but he's never going to play for City. He was never going to break into the team. But if we get 10, 15 million for somebody who was never going to play for us, and I think the model has changed at City now. You only have to look at all of the young talent we're buying up from all over the world and sending them out on loan. We've basically taken the Chelsea model, haven't we, where we can buy 80 players, and we know that maybe one of them might one day play for us and be £100 million player, but most of the time it's just get them in cheap, sell them on, make money, and that's what it's about. Alan, you want to say something?
Yeah, the Sancho thing didn't help himself really, because when the time he wouldn't sign an extension to his contract at the time, and then he refused to turn up to training and didn't turn up to the pre-season training for America, didn't turn up at the airport. So quite right, Pep did the right thing and offloaded him. Pep doesn't want people that don't want to be there and behave in an unprofessional manner. And if you're talking about not seeing a club doing it, let's look at Chelsea as an example now. They've got all those kids in. If they hadn't got a transfer ban, then kids would never have got a game. That's a fact. And they've had a chance. And to be fair to them, they've taken it, and Frank Lampard's done really well.
Yeah.
And they've got some brilliant kids.
It's so difficult.
Well, there's no chance you'd see Tammy Abraham at Chelsea right now if it wasn't for the ban.
Well, sorry,
exactly.
you just frozen on there for me. But there's
loads of them.
Well, it's an example. Marcus Rashford would never have got in that United team under Louis van Gaal if there hadn't been all them injuries at that point.
Great. He wouldn't.
There's so many variants of how players get through and into teams. I mean, there's no you do this, then you'll be in the team. There are so many variants to it, and at the end of the day, half of these players, the likes of Sancho and others,
Jaden Braff,
Foden, 20 years ago, probably might have broken into the team and things like that. But the way
at least Braff has a chance, though, with the current situation.
Well, maybe he does, and hopefully we do see a little bit more of him. But I won't hold my breath. I'll be honest with you, because there are so many other big, £200,000 a week players that have to be satisfied first. Wow, interesting, interesting, very interesting question. We're going to come to Martin for the next one. Martin.
Okay, get your thinking caps on. This might be a bit hard for you, Ryan.
Oh,
Calhoun.
Bit harsh.
No, I mean in terms
you're picking on me.
Time because of his age. I was paying you a compliment. He might, if he does, it's great. Calhoun's a great chairman, isn't he? One of the best ones we've had. Apart from Calhoun, who's your favourite chairman and why? Now do you see what I said about Ryan?
Yeah, just skip me here.
Okay, Alan.
Bernstein, David Bernstein.
Yeah, that's who I broke down.
Him, Bernstein and Joe Royle saved our club. If it weren't for Bernstein restructuring the club the way he did it when we went, it was towards the end of the season we went down from the Championship to Division 1. He restructured it, and when we went down, him and Joe Royle restructured it that well and controlled it that well for the next 5 or 6 years, we would not be in the situation we are right now. I'll tell you that now. Bernstein all day long.
Okay, Chris?
Yeah, it's got to be David Bernstein. Since I've been going to City, I was born in 71. I think Swells took over in 72. Then came Franny Lee, who we all wanted at the time, forwarded Franny and that. That went south. And then in came David Bernstein. Did a great job. Absolutely fantastic. Brought stability to the club. Something, we were hemorrhaging money. He sorted that out.
You see how he went on to work for the FA?
Yeah.
The FA grabbed him straight away.
Done some fantastic work when he was at City. No doubt about it. I think he was the one who started the Manchester City Academy. He's also the guy who managed to bring in somebody as high profile as Kevin Keegan when we were in what is now the Championship.
Yeah.
And what a season when we were in the Championship with Kevin Keegan that was. And I thought that was a great appointment. I think David Bernstein is probably the man. John Wardle came after, didn't he? I think Wardle did some good stuff, but ultimately put City in a very precarious position. And if I'm right, I think Bernstein left because of City's excessive spending. I think is what he said.
Yeah, he did. Right.
And I think that what Bernstein did was to put the club, say, look, we're not this big club anymore. At this time, moment in our history, we are not at this big club. We need to streamline. I don't think he brought Joe Royle in, but he stuck with Joe Royle. And I think Joe, as I've said in previous Friday Night Socials, I think Joe Royle is another huge contributory factor to why City stabilised. Yeah. But that was down to Bernstein for definite. And he had a massive impact in us acquiring the Commonwealth Stadium as well. So that decision or his influence in getting us the Commonwealth Stadium is the reason we've got the Abu Dhabi group in now, because I doubt it they would have, if it's true, helicoptered over Main Road and thought, oh, that looks great, So,
yeah, I mean, it goes to show you, when you get the Football Association looking at what he did at City and going, he's about, and if you listen to people who talking about, David Bernstein in particular, they only tend to have, outsiders of City. They only tend to have good things to say about his professionalism and the way that
that's a great word.
He does business. But Karl?
So is Bernstein the gentleman that oversaw the progression from, the Division 2, Division 1?
Yeah, 98 to 2003.
Yeah.
So I've been watching a lot of the previous history from Main Road. If that's the gentleman, then that surely has to be the chairman before Khaldun that we can say is probably the best one. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know, Ryan. I'll bring you in, because even though you probably only remember the likes of the recent ones per se.
Well, since my first game was in 2004, so I've only been through 3 chairmen since then. But based off what everyone else has had to say and kind of like my knowledge of what's happened in the past, I essentially have to agree with what everyone else has said, really. But yeah, I've only been through chairman so far in my lifetime, so one who was only there for a year.
Who was the person that handed the trophy? I was next to the person that handed the trophy. That was the first one we won the FA Cup in 2011. Who was stood on the Royal Box and handed it and was cheered when it was lifted by David Bernstein. And I thought that was very pivotal.
I totally agree. I think Bernstein was great. I mean, I've got a soft spot for Wardle until I found out what he'd done with the Co-op Bank and taking all them loans out and was absolutely about to. The thing was, we were hours away from going bye-bye.
Yeah, I know.
Because the Co-op Bank were just going to recall every single loan that we'd ever done. That was Wardle's way of doing it. We bought an Elka on a massive loan. We didn't have the money for an Elka. Yeah. We bought him on a loan. Has no one saying taxing? No one going for taxing?
Well, it was the owner one. He wasn't the chairman, was he?
Well, he was only there for a year.
Is taxing Tix's friend?
Taxing shit on water.
Yeah.
I think going back, like
is that your actual pronunciation there, Martin? Because I wouldn't put it past you.
Taxing shit on water.
Go on, try and pronounce it. Go on, try and pronounce the actual name.
Frank.
Oh, Frank.
Oh, Frankie, baby.
Yeah. Well, listen. On that, when I interviewed David White, he actually said about Peter Swales and said he thought he was a really decent guy, and that he got a lot of stick off City fans at the time. But
that's Paul Lake.
Well, no. I didn't interview Paul Lake. I interviewed David
Don't mention
White.
Paul Lake. You'll get Blue Heart going in the comments.
Oh, I know. I mean, I understand because I've read his book, but I mean, it's. I'm only saying what an ex-City player at the time was saying about him. So it's interesting. It is an interesting question. Go on, Chris. You were going to say something.
I was just going to say about Franny Lee. I think he was our great saviour when he came in, and I don't really have any negative vibes towards him at all. Yeah. I just think he was somebody who lived in an idealist sort of world. I think didn't he say when he first came in he wanted to make City the happiest club to be at. Yeah. We'd pay the best wages and would drink champagne and celebrate and sing songs. I don't really hold any malice towards Franny Lee at all. But I think David Bernstein, when he took the reins, really sorted City out. Even if Khaldoon and Sheikh Mansour never came in and did Bernstein still had a massive part to play in City's coming back from the depths.
Okay,
it can only be Bernstein, I think. Good
question. Right, Alan, you're the last one for tonight. I think we've had everyone. So
this will be a good discussion one. I want to ask a question to the guys and have their opinion on the ticketing at Man City. Okay.
In respect of
after what's just happened in the world today, are they going to look at ticket pricing and season ticket pricing? So tickets pricing is one thing, season tickets another thing, and the cost of them, right? And also, are they prepared to scrap the Citizens Matchday membership? As you know, or you may not know, if someone can't go every week and they wanted to get a ticket, they have to pay £35 for a Citizens membership to be able to apply for a ticket for a match on top of that. So they have to pay. They have to pay on top of that. Or and also they can't buy a ticket on the same day as the game, which in my opinion needs to change. Which will all improve. I think will improve the attendances, because what people now in Manchester, predominantly are working class people, will not be able to afford the ticket prices the way they are at the moment, considering what has just gone on and what's happening right now moving forward. I think they've got to start looking at it. And I want to know your opinion on what they can do in that respect, because otherwise we'd have 35,000 there, 30,000 there next season, in my opinion.
Right. Okay. So let me clarify. The question is about ticketing, as in the price of a season ticket or season card,
and also ticket per match,
and ticket per match, and also the Citizens card that you pay £35 for. And that's the only way that you can be eligible to purchase a ticket on a certain day. Yeah.
The only way you're eligible to buy a season ticket.
So how much is a season ticket at the minute?
Well, just just before we come to that, I just want to clarify the question so everyone's clear, because otherwise we don't know the question. We'll end up going off on all sorts of stuff that's not relevant to the question. So, I'll be here for another hour. So, season ticket. Let's deal with season ticket pricing first. Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I think it's quite reasonable at the moment for the football that I'm getting and the players that I'm seeing. And I mean, the thing is,
with what's going on right now.
See, what helps at City though, you're allowed to do the direct debit interest-free scheme.
Yeah.
So you can pay it monthly. Not a lot of clubs do that. Not a lot of clubs in the Premier League actually allow you to do that. The one thing, I mean, and so, I'm paying quite a lot. I'm probably one of the highest in there at the moment because I'm in Colin Bell level 1. For an adult, it's quite a lot. I could never afford it in one lump sum. So having an interest-free direct debit scheme works for me. Would I like it to be cheaper? Of course I would. Of course I would. I'm still going to be going next season. If it was up front, then I wouldn't. Because of this direct debit scheme they do, that for me is the reason why I can go, if I'm going to be totally honest.
Martin, do you mind saying how much you pay for your ticket? You don't have to. You don't have to.
It works out 800. It's about 850, 860 a month, a year.
A month, I was going to say. Jesus Christ! Yeah. What are you in the tunnel? Are you in the tunnel club? You in the tunnel club, Tyler?
I'm paying about 85, 86 a month, a
week, a day.
I'm paying £19 a month for my car parking as well. So I'm paying
that's on
well over about 120 quid because I'm in Blue Car Park, and that's £120 a year for that. £190 a year for that. But that's split 3 ways. But so,
okay,
that's where I'm at with it. But again, it's because of the direct debit scheme that I know not a lot of clubs do. And the one thing City are very good at, you're not forced into doing cup schemes that we know them over the road do. That you have to have a season ticket, you have to do the cup games. You don't get a choice. It's that or you don't get a season ticket.
Yeah.
So I find it hard at the minute to criticise. I know with the current climate it's hard, but I think with the direct debit scheme it's easier.
Okay, so the answer to the first part of the question was about season ticket pricing. Do you think the season ticket pricing is fair for what you're paying for what? So let's say for next season, would you be happy? Okay, I'll rephrase it. I'm sorry, Alan. I know it's your question, but if next season goes ahead and they say there's going to be no increase, it's going to be exactly the same. Are you happy to pay that, or do you think, well, I'll pay it, but it should be cheaper?
I'm quite happy paying it because it works out 44 quid a match on average.
Yeah,
44 quid a match.
Yeah.
Now Chelsea last year was £65, £70 where I sit.
Yeah.
Then you got once you've done the big 5, you very rarely nearly paid over half a season ticket there. Yeah. So
mine's £680. I've got a season ticket with my mate rents out in the season. When I go home, I have it, and that's in the newsstand top tier 5th row, and that was £680. And I'm on the monthly scheme.
I wouldn't pay it up there. I'll be honest. I wouldn't pay it up there. That I would find expensive for up there. I'm 5 rows from the front.
Yeah.
So for me, that's value for money. I am breathing on Kevin De Bruyne virtually. You know what I mean? If I was in,
I'm surprised Kevin De Bruyne hadn't bought your season ticket and just said to City, make sure he never comes near the ground again. I'm fed up with him breathing on me.
Exactly.
Right, moving it on. Ryan, I know that you come along. We see you at the game every now and then. What are your thoughts on season tickets in general? Because you obviously, you turn up whenever you can.
I can't afford to really be going to games at all, really.
Yeah.
So the only game I've been to this season was the company testimonial. That's the only game I've been to this season and last season, because I originally went with my granddad, who passed away 2 years ago now, technically. So I'm not in the position where I can really afford to go to games. So how much did you say you were spending, Martin, per
game?
month?
Per game on average is about £44.
Yeah. So the company testimonial, which that was a testimonial game for charity, so the prices for tickets were much lower. Usually, I think they were around £15, something like that, for where I was.
Yeah, they were £15.
Yeah. And then I think I spent a day in Manchester. So this is including the hut, because obviously I'm not in Manchester. So I have to get the train down, pay if it's a late night game. So if it was a Champions League game or a game like Companies, which are testimonial, I have to stay overnight because I can't get a train back unless I leave at like half time. So if that was a proper game, I'd be spending near on 250 quid. Probably not that, because I also spent I spent like 75 quid in the club shop when I went to Company's testimonial. So say 150 quid per match, like if I went to a game, and I can't be affording that really. So I'm probably not the best to go for this question, but obviously I'd want them to lower the prices, but I don't think it's really going to happen. But if you're someone that lives in Manchester, is like proper adult, works full time, whereas I'm more just kind of like part time. Whenever there's a race day at the racecourse, I'm working. If you're working 5 days a week, 6 days a week, whatever, proper wage, 9 till 5, then I think it's probably fair. I think it should probably be lowered for the next season where fans come back to it, because I don't think fans will be back for probably the majority of the next season, if not all of it. Yeah, that's my thoughts on it, really.
Okay, Karl.
Yeah, so I have my match day pack. I try to get this annually, even though I'm not there all the time. But the good thing is it allows me to buy tickets on the day for like the Champions League. I try to come at least 3 times a year, as much as I can, from the US. In terms of match tickets, so there's a tension between the current environment with Corona and COVID-19 and the impact on football versus gate receipts from the fans, right? And the quality of what we have on the field. And somewhere along the way, I think the club is going to have to make a decision. The best decision for me is to freeze the current prices where they are. They can't increase it because nobody's going to show up, right? And they have to look for innovative ways to get people to come to the stadium. Have free FA Cup or free Champions League as part of the whole ticket package, as opposed to trying to charge people separately for that. But they have to come up with innovative ways to do it, or else people won't show up, especially with reduced income with the impact of the coronavirus for next season.
Well,
Yeah.
They need to get rid of the point scheme. That's what they need to do. I'll make that fair.
I mean that's a whole other debate.
Oh, I know.
I mean that's one that you can go very deep into.
That's a gripe I've got.
I mean, it's a gripe with all sorts. The whole sort of platinum and
that's just set up there.
Yeah, of course it is. Season tickets, will it go up? Will it not go up? Will it stay the same? Does it matter? Should City be doing something about it? Well,
I'm going to admit something now that you won't like. That's part of the reason I didn't get credit for next season, because I cannot trust they won't put the tickets up. So there goes my refund by the season ticket prices going up.
Sorry, I don't get that. What you say?
So for example, my refund is so much. If I say instead of my refund, they're offering credit on your season ticket the next year.
Yeah.
What's to say City don't put the price up to get that money back?
Well, they could do, yeah.
And you end up still paying what you did this year.
Or they could reduce it and you get an extra few games for free.
Yeah, that's what maybe that's I don't fully trust that they won't they haven't put it up for a couple of years now. So it is to go up.
You know what? I think I'll be honest with you. I think if City were to put up the prices,
they'll get lynched.
They'd get absolutely mullered. They get mullered on social media. They get mullered by the fans. They get absolutely mullered big style. If they put it up, well, it might have been, but I'll tell you what, you've already got fans apathy with football and the way football's gone and things like that. And I think if any, I'm saying this not just about Man City, I'm saying this about anybody. If you had any club after what's currently going on and the way people are furloughed and everything else and losing jobs and unemployment, we've not even seen the unemployment spike yet, which might come in 2021. So I mean, forget right where we are right now. God knows what's going to happen in the next 6 months if we get a second spike. So, I think if City were prudent, they wouldn't even consider putting up the prices at all. If they kept it as it is, fine, fair enough, I'm sure. But I'm sure, it does go a long way. People say, oh, well, it doesn't bring in any money. And it does bring in money. And it does play.
About Germany.
It does play a part. But I think, I don't know. I think it's a difficult one, and I'm sure it's not an easy. I'm sure it's really not an easy decision from the club and everything else with what's going on with FFP as well. And you've got to every penny counts. And you think of how much money. Forget about all the lower teams. Even City, how much money City have lost from revenue with gate receipts, with away fans, with food, with corporate hospitality, with everything else, just as it stands at the moment, I'm sure is in the millions of pounds already. And we're a team and a club that can actually, like a sponge, we can absorb that, where other teams, clubs will be struggling with that. So it's going to be a difficult one. But, I don't know. It's ticket pricing is a real. You don't have to read it, and I stay clear of it.
I would love to see what they did with away tickets done with some home tickets.
Yeah,
they put a cap on away games.
Yeah.
Well, what have they done with the stuff for season ticket holders now? So what have they done with
the
paying you guys back?
All they've done is they've sent money back to your bank accounts that
the
games we've missed, or you can have it reduced off your season ticket next year.
Okay.
And that's for season tickets or match day tickets.
Yeah, correct.
Right. I wasn't really sure, because I haven't looked into it, because obviously I'm not a season ticket holder.
We always sell the season tickets. Like I've said before, I tried to get my daughter a season ticket. Because, like I said, you have to be a citizen. You did have a season card waiting list, but they got rid of that and then said you had to be a citizen member, which is 35 yeah. The thing was, season tickets went on sale at 9 o'clock. By 3 minutes past 9, the season tickets were sold out.
Yeah.
Because I tried getting my daughter one for the last 2 years. So the season tickets are being sold. How they're getting sold in 180 seconds, I don't know. But like I said, there is stuff that goes on behind the scenes we're not privy to. I mean, there's a story out now that City are now asking everyone how to improve match day experiences.
Yeah, they send that to me all the time. Straight here.
So they do know there's a problem. They know there's a problem.
Right. Listen, it's been a long one, that one. Good question, and it's one of those that we could debate for hours upon hours, but it is now 1:40 in the morning.
Go to bed.
We started this at 10.
Go to bed.
I know. It is time. It's time for us to wrap this up. What I do want to say is, of course, when we started the vlog, it was the 22nd, bless you, 22nd of May. And Friday, the 22nd of May, and obviously it was 3 years ago since the MEN Ariana Grande terror attack in Manchester, and where 22 people lost their lives and over 120 people were hospitalised, and up to 800 in total were injured in that attack. And our thoughts and prayers go out to all the family members, not only of those who sadly lost their lives, but all those that were affected were there. They may have survived it, but are still dealing with those horrendous events of that particular night in Manchester. So our thoughts from everyone at Man City Fan TV is to everyone that was there, was involved, and was affected. And guys, listen, this brings us to the end of part 3 and the end of the Friday Night Social. So I want to say a massive thank you to the guys. You may have seen that Tom had to leave a bit earlier, but Alan over in Melbourne, thanks mate for coming on.
Thank you.
Cheers. Karl in Washington DC.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for coming on. Ryan.
Yep, been a pleasure as always.
Thank you, buddy. Martin.
Of course, he didn't
I did
speak.
my little thing.
Was that in doing a Buster Keaton impression or something like that?
Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome, buddy. Chris.
Yeah, cheers, mate. And just want to reiterate what you said about the anniversary. And, you know, those people will never be forgotten. And we stand strong against people who would take away our freedoms, basically. You know, it brought Manchester together. A terrible thing that happened. But it brought Manchester together, and, you know, we'll never forget them. So everyone stay safe. And let's remember those who've gone before us.
Don't look back in anger.
Absolutely. Well, guys, listen, this is Andy from Man City Fan TV. This is the end of the Friday Night Social. But don't forget, if you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way you'll be notified when a new video comes out on the channel. And once again, I want to say a massive thank you to not only to Chris, Alan, Karl, Martin, Ryan, but also to Tom, who was on earlier and had to go. But take care. Don't forget, go over, watch part 1 and part 2. Where we talk about CAS in part 1, and part 2 we're talking about that beautiful third kit, which everyone here, if you haven't seen it, everybody voted a big thumbs up for it. And
just listening to Karl's opinion on it, that's just worth it.
Well, guys, take care. Big thumbs up. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week on the Friday Night Social. See you soon, guys. Take care.